Good morning. Today we're going to start reading Mercedes and the Chocolate Pilot. So this takes place in Berlin in 1948. One late August day, Mercedes slipped her hand under the white chickens she kept in the small courtyard garden behind her apartment building. Please let there be eggs, she wished as the silver-winged planes flew above like guardian angels. But like yesterday and the day before, the chickens' nests were empty, except for one small egg. Mercedes fed each chicken a worm and tried not to cry. She loved her four feathered pets, but Mama would not be happy. Eggs were more precious than gold in West Berlin during the Russian blockade. Tomorrow, I want an egg from each of you, she scolded the chickens sternly. And Mama will say we cannot afford to keep you, and you must have you for dinner instead. Walking up the bomb-splintered steps of her apartment, Mercedes was sure her white chickens were just too scared of the thundering planes of the airlift to lay their eggs. Night and day they roared overhead like huge silver birds into the nearby Tempelhof airfield to unload their supplies, but Mercedes would never complain about the great soaring grocery stores that everyone called the raisin bombers, because they carried yummy raisins to eat. They carried flour, clothing, and coal too, and something else. One day, Mama read from her newspaper story about the candy that came from the planes. The story told about a wonderful American chocolate pilot, Lieutenant Gale Halverson. Every day he rained down sweets on the children who cheered the planes landing on Tempelhof's runway. As Mama read, Mercedes learned how the tall, friendly pilot had talked with these children one day at the fence near the runway's end. The children didn't ask him for candy, Mama read, only sweet freedom. Still, before he had to go, he searched his pockets for gum. But he found only 2 sticks, and there were 30 children. What did he do, Mama? Mercedes asked. He split the sticks of 4 lucky children, Mama read, and the others tore slivers of the foil to smell their sweet treats. Then, even though he knew he could get in terrible trouble, he promised the children he would drop gum and candy for them from his plane the next day. He stretched out his arms and told them to look for the wiggle of his plane's wings. That night, the pilot made small candy-filled parachutes from handkerchiefs, Mama read on, and he dropped them in the secret to children at the airfield the next day. He made 3 candy drops after that, before his troubles began. Children's letters addressed to the chocolate pilot and to Uncle Wiggly Wings began to arrive at the airfield. Then a candy bar almost hit a reporter on his head, and the colonel in charge at Tempelhof read about the pilot's secret in the newspaper. He was caught. Did the colonel yell at him? Mercedes cringed, but Mama laughed and said, only a little. Then he shook his hand and told him to keep dropping and keep him informed. But won't he run out of candy? Mercedes asked anxiously, but Mama only laughed again. People from all over America now send the pilot handkerchiefs for parachutes and so much candy that it has filled 2 large railroad boxcars. Mercedes heaved a sigh of relief. May I go catch some candy at Tempelhof too, Mama? She asked hopefully. No, not by yourself. Frau Simon warned quickly. The streets are too dangerous, with soldiers and rubble everywhere. But I promise to take you to the airfield soon to see the chocolate pilot, she said, hugging Mercedes close to her. Mercedes smelled the smoky scent that still lingered in Mama's blue dress from the time when the bombs had fallen during the war. She knew Mama cried quietly at night for Papa, who hadn't come back from the fighting. "Don't worry, Mama, I'll stay close when we go," she said. "I'll even walk with my toes in your shadow, except when I run for our candy," she added happily. A few weeks later, as Mama promised, Mercedes stood at the airfield fence with other hopeful children. Above her, thundering planes dropped out of the clouds, shaking the ground at her feet. Then a great cheer came up from the children when they spotted the wiggle of the chocolate pilot's wings. Suddenly, many small white parachutes floated down like marshmallow clouds. Mercedes ran excitedly with the other children, with her hands stretched high to capture the prize in the sky. But at the very last second, a large boy nearby reached up a little higher and grabbed the parachute that was drifting toward her. Oh, the look in his eyes as he bit into the silky smooth chocolate. It was all Mercedes could think about for the whole sad way home. We're going to stop here and we'll pick up reading more. I hope you enjoyed this part of Mercedes and the Chocolate Pilot. See you tomorrow.